All right, how y'all doing? Happy Wednesday. Thank you for showing up. So this should only be about 15 minutes long, but we will be diving into metabolism, it's honestly a repeat topic that I will bring up a lot in our coaching calls. I'll bring up a lot in your check-ins. It's because that's like the foundation of frequency. That is what we do here. We focus on utilizing your metabolism to make your body work for you. Yes, obviously, we're going to be paying attention to your diet and your exercise so that your output, right, the things that you are doing, but we also have a whole body that is also, either going to work for us or work against us. And I'm telling you, that is the biggest indicator of what's going on, like what's actually going on and maybe preventing progress or making it easy for people to see progress. And it also is what is the indicator of your ability to maintain progress. So your metabolism will help you see results and also keep results. And again, that's kind of the whole focus of this thing here. Could I just put you guys on the treadmill for hours a day and pull back all of your food and, make you starve? Sure. And then what will happen when you go back into the real world? I'll see you again next year. It honestly would be a really good business model. I would have lifelong clients, but instead I want you to make sure you maintain results forever. So let me share my screen. And I also would love to, if anybody wants to shout out any idea, like if you had to define metabolism, or if you've heard about it, anything at all, if anybody kind of wants to just unmute or put it in the chat or something, like if you were to maybe define metabolism, what would you explain it as? And there's no right or wrong answers. There's honestly a million different ways that you could answer this. I'm just curious to see kind of where the baseline knowledge is at.
I kind of think it's like the way we process food and like nutrients.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's interesting because I think, like, me too, a couple of years ago, like I thought metabolism was really just focused around like food, like how we metabolize food. And I'm kind of going to get into this because I find it interesting too, just as a reminder. Your metabolism affects everything. So it's just the complex set of chemical reactions that occur in an organism to maintain life. So yes, that will come down to food. That's one of the complex set of chemical reactions is food. And that's an easy one to think of because that's one of the ones that we can control. It's something that's like external. But at the end of the day, your metabolism is what's happening in your body to maintain life. Think about how like the sun is like the perfect distance away from Earth to maintain life, right? If it was any closer, we would die. If it was any further, we would die. It's keeping that perfect distance. Same with gravity. It's the exact amount that we need to maintain life, not too far, not too close. That's essentially what our metabolism is doing. But it's a sliding scale. So it's constantly moving with us. So think about like if the earth were to move a little bit left, the sun would move a little bit left. If it were to move a little bit right. So it's constantly matching you. It's very maladaptive. It's constantly moving just to maintain life, to keep you alive. It ensures that cells in the body have the energy needed for growth, reproduction, and maintaining cellular functions. At the very core of everything about us, we're just a bunch of cells put together. That's, the most basic. If you break everything down, that's what we get to is our cells. So the metabolism not only affects, how we digest and process food, but it literally is what our cells need in order to do what cells do, which cells grow, cells reproduce, and then they do cellular function things. And that's what the metabolism is for, to ensure that they can do those things. Your metabolism is the biggest factor to your fitness journey success. Okay, 100%, period. You can have a great metabolism and never have to, focus on your nutrition or never have to diet or, strength train and whatnot. Now, will that give you a toned look? Will that make you feel healthy or big, build strong bones and whatnot? No, of course not. So there's obviously a lot of benefits to making sure that you're getting quality nutrients and vitamins and minerals from the foods that you're eating and whatnot. But it really is the biggest factor to your fitness journey. It will either work for you or against you. The good thing is that you are in control of the rate of your metabolism based off of your lifestyle choices. And that does come down to food choices. That comes down to your exercise type of, choice. It comes down to your stress management, how you spend your days, how often you're moving, how sedentary you are, how, the things that you're doing to affect hormones, all of that. So that's the good news, is that your lifestyle factors play such a massive role, which again is why in frequency I'm paying attention to your stress, to your digestion, to how you spend your weekends, to your steps. Yes, it'll make you feel good, that's for sure, but it also is literally the root of what is dictating the rate of your metabolism. And also the adherence to the frequency program. I always like to remind you of that. I know a lot of times it can be hard because we are 100% living in a society. It is getting better, but at least over the last, forever, honestly, it's always been pushed to do cardio and to diet. So to eat less and do lots of cardio. Our parents or the older generation was definitely in like the jogging generation. A lot of women come to me with absolutely no desire to build muscle, no desire to strength train, no desire to eat more. And I get that. The desire is to lose body fat and to look good and to feel good, right? Now, you just have to let go of the old way of thinking that, building muscle is going to get you absolutely bulky, super jacked. You're going to gain body fat, to be constantly in a dieting phase, all of that. So as long as you are willing to adhere to the frequency program and we don't spend, the entire program together trying to convince you to do the things that are going to speed up your metabolism, then that's good. Yeah, so the whole frequency program is based off of leveraging your metabolism to see results and maintain them easily. So when we talk about metabolism, like I said, that's kind of just an overall way to maintain life function. But when we are talking about food, calories, and burning calories, so the ability to lose fat, now we're talking about your basal metabolic rate. Okay, so that is the amount of calories expended or burned by the body at rest to maintain basic physiological function. So how many calories your body is burning if you lay in bed for 24 hours. Now, that number is what your basal metabolic rate is. So somebody who is, looks just like you, maybe you in a different lifetime or you in a year from now after a frequency program, you could either lay in bed all day and burn 1,200 calories, or you could lay in bed all day and burn 1,900 calories. Who do you think has less body fat on them? Who do you think it's easier for to lose body fat? The person who is burning 1,000 calories or the person who's burning at 1,900 calories with their basal metabolic rate? You. Oh, wait.
1900.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Ms. Deborah. Yes. So if we can increase your basal metabolic rate, you will have less body fat on you. You'll be able to lose body fat easier. If we, go through the process of increasing your metabolism or speeding up your metabolism. What are the things that affect your BMR, your basal metabolic rate? So your body size. So somebody who's bigger will burn more calories and have a higher metabolic rate. So like men will have a higher metabolic rate than women. As well as your body composition. So if you don't have any muscle mass on you, or you have a very little bit of muscle mass on you, you're going to be burning way less calories than somebody who has lean muscle mass on them. That's going to basically like triple, quadruple the amount of calories that you're burning, which is why we focus on strength training. So that, again, we can just be laying in bed doing nothing and your body is working for you. The body composition is probably the biggest factor. Your age, so your metabolism, your metabolic rate does slow down a little bit with age, but the good thing is that we can fight that off. So if you are aging, but we are also gaining lean muscle mass, then we're kind of canceling that out. So I try not to focus on age too much because it's very controllable, as well as the thermogenic effect of food that will affect your BMR. So there's certain foods that burn more calories to just eat and digest than they even are to like consume. So for example, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. Protein is a thermogenic food. So you'll be burning calories just by eating more protein. Again, another reason why when you start at frequency, we're probably going to be increasing your protein intake or at least getting it to a healthy set point. It's because it will regulate your hunger cues, regulate your cravings, regulate your appetite so that you're not munching at the end of the day, feeling insatiable, and then at the end of the day, just overall eating more calories. But also just protein in general has a thermogenic effect on your body. So that will increase your basal metabolic rate, as well as your physical activity. So if you're somebody that works from home, sits on the couch all day, maybe takes a couple steps here and there to their car, versus you're somebody that's on your feet, maybe you work at a restaurant or you're a construction worker or you walk to the grocery store every day, things like that. The person who walks more and is just generally more active, their basal metabolic rate will be faster and will be at a higher rate than somebody who's sedentary all day, as well as your hormones, which again is why I do pay attention to your hormones, your lifestyle factor, What affects your hormones? The foods that you're eating, the ratio of carbs and fats. So if you've ever gone and done a no fat diet, if you buy everything low fat or non-fat version, we can basically guarantee that you probably have some sort of hormone imbalance. Or if you aren't going to the bathroom every day, maybe because you're not eating enough food, or you're not drinking enough water, or not having enough fiber, or something is off with your digestion, that's going to be affecting your hormones, which will affect your basal metabolic rate. The most important hormone that I like to pay attention to is cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So that's another reason your stress hormone, cortisol, will absolutely play a role, again, coming down to that cellular level of your metabolic rate. So all of these things, somebody who's more stressed out, their body is going to be kind of in that shutdown, fight or flight. It is not going to say, let's burn more calories, let's burn through our energy source. No, it's going to say, we need to fucking survive. Let's maintain and hold on to the excess calories that we have on our body, the body fat, any food that we do eat. Let's store that, because your body's in fight or flight. And every person that is super stressed out and that has high cortisol, I ask them, how, are you stressed? How's your stress levels? And they say, no, they're not stressed, because it's their baseline. So if you just experience any anxiety, or maybe you are constantly kind of tapping your foot, or you notice you're always kind of the worrier or thinking ahead of time about things unnecessarily, or you never give yourself moments to truly slow down, or when you're resting, you always feel like you should be doing something, it's a pretty good sign that you're putting your body under excess stress. Your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, makes up 70% of the calories you burn every day. That is way more than half. So the other 30% come from things like the thermogenic effect of food, your movement throughout the day, and then your exercise. So you're just like overall movement throughout the day, and then your exercise. All of that is way less than 70%. So if we focus our attention on increasing your metabolism, that's going to be way more bang for your buck than trying to do more cardio or work out, harder and run more often or diet more, whatever. This is where, if we focus on this, you're going to get so much more, worth your while. If you have a slowed down metabolism, it will be harder or impossible to lose body fat, it's really sad. It's really frustrating, when we get a client and they kind of refuse to go through the priming phase, the priming the metabolism phase of increasing calories, increasing food to get things going. You have to feed up the metabolism. That's the only way to speed it up, which I'll get into that. And if you're resistant to that, and if you've been dieting for too long and you're way too afraid to increase food, you're going to have a slowed down metabolism, and your rate of losing body fat will be much, much, much harder, and can't even get to the point of being impossible, and can't even start going the other way of like, I've literally been dieting, I've literally been doing cardio, but I'm literally gaining weight. So how do you slow down your metabolism? If I wanted to slow down my metabolism and not burn as many calories at rest and gain a bunch of body fat, I would eat less than 1,500 calories per day year round. I would never get out of a dieting phase. I would always be wanting to get leaner, always be wanting to eat less, and just always be obsessed with being afraid of calories, counting calories, choosing the diet food, skipping meals, all that. I would walk less than 5,000 steps per day. I would make sure to stay sedentary, not move. I would prioritize cardio over weights. So I'd make sure that when I am moving, I'm doing cardio, because cardio will increase your appetite. So after 10 minutes of running, you're going to be a lot hungrier than 10 minutes of lifting weights or 10 minutes of walking. So which one would slow down your metabolism? It'd be cardio for sure. I would let stress control my life rather than controlling my stress. So I would implement no stress management practices. I would just kind of be a victim to, stressful thoughts, anxiety, my schedule, obsessing, all that, rather than actively putting attention in towards stress management, slowing down, breath work, yoga, grounding, all that. And I would also cut out carbs, specifically carbs. I would cut them out completely to crash my thyroid, which is a hormone that plays a massive role in your metabolism and your metabolic rate. So if you've ever cut out carbs, we can pretty much guarantee that you probably have a downregulated, slowed down metabolism too. How would I speed up my metabolism now? If I've tried all those things, right? If I've done the cutting out carbs, I've done the excess cardio, I've tried to diet basically my entire life, and now I'm in my 30s and my 40s or my 20s or whatever, and I'm just still in the same fucking spot. Here's what I would do. I basically do the fucking opposite. I would get out of a calorie deficit and I would eat more food. I would fuel up my body. I would give my body more nutrients, more fuel, nourish it more so that everything can actually start going. Because again, your metabolism is just matching you where you're at. So if we bring it up, bring your food up, your metabolism will also speed up. I would build lean muscle mass, basically just build muscle mass. I would lift heavy, heavy weights. How do you build muscle? You have to eat more food. You are not going to grow something. You're not going to create more muscle mass out of thin air. You can go to the gym and lift as heavy as you want. You can follow a powerlifting program. You can deadlift 600 pounds. If you are still trying to eat at your maintenance or below your maintenance, you are not going to grow muscle out of thin air, okay? So as we're lifting heavy, that's tearing apart the muscle. As we are home, sleeping, resting, eating protein, amino acids, and just eating enough food in general, more than to just maintain my body, that's when my muscle mass grows back and I actually grow lean muscle mass. That's when I can look toned, feel toned, get stronger, and therefore increase my metabolism. I would also make sure I walk more often, just walking, again, because it's a way to kind of like burn more calories. It's a way to increase your metabolism. So you are naturally burning more calories without increasing your appetite too much, putting too much stress on the body, throwing off your hormones, down-regulating your thyroid, all of that. I would also make sure to eat more protein since that's a thermogenic food, makes me feel satisfied, helps rebuild the lean muscle mass of all the work that I'm putting in the gym, gives me the amino acids. And I would do less cardio. I would just prioritize walking. I would call cardio walking, but you know, when I use the word cardio, I mean high durations of cardio, getting your heart rate above that like 150, 160 mark, and kind of doing HIIT style cardio and things like that. I also would really prioritize, if I wanted to speed up my metabolism, managing stress for hormone function. If we can regulate your hormones, again, that's something that's going to be working for you, increasing your metabolism, helping you burn calories without having to kill yourself in the gym or just end up in square one and trying the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. Bada bing, bada boom. Any comments, questions, concerns, anything that you found interesting? If you want me to dive deeper onto something, maybe you can relate. Anything at all?
How long does it take to like see the changes in your metabolic rate, like once you start doing those things?
So it does like change a little bit, literally
Hmm.
daily. So literally,
Okay.
daily, if you spend absolutely nothing or, spend the entire day doing absolutely nothing, your metabolism is going to, again, match you wherever you're at. And yeah, pretty rapidly. If you
Cool.
start increasing your calories, which, for a lot of my clients, if we do go into a metabolic priming phase of purposely eating more, we're going to increase your calories about 100, maybe 150 calories every week so that we're not jam packing it all and that, making sure it doesn't turn into body fat. And then building lean muscle mass, building muscle does take some time for, so for some people, it's a little bit different. It kind of just correlates to how heavy you're willing to lift, how much you're willing to eat. Again, how much you just kind of trust the process. But truly it happens daily, but just on a small scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, over the course of like, a 6-month program with a client, your metabolism your set point can be at 1,400, 1,500 calories. And then at the end of our 6 months together, you're eating 2,300, 2,400 calories. And either you haven't gained any body fat, you've only gained lean muscle mass, you look more toned, or even you've lost body fat. So that kind of gives you, we can totally increase your metabolism by like additional 1,000 calories, I'd say, within 6 months. Miranda said, how protein is a thermogenic food. Love learning that. Yeah, I know. It's very interesting. And it's like, wow, never thought about that. We kind of look at all food as just calories that's going to make us fat, but definitely not. There's a thermogenic effect to digestion as well. And protein is a slow digesting food. Fat is also a slow digesting food, meaning that you'll kind of feel it. Like if you eat a high fat food, you'll feel fuller for a while than if you were to eat like a high carb food, but it's not thermogenic. Just protein is. Cool. Anything else? Super good info. Can you touch a little more on like the importance of carbs in metabolism? Yeah, so carbs specifically impact your thyroid, which your thyroid is your hormone that literally directly impacts your metabolism and your body's ability to lose body fat. So I don't know if you've ever heard of like having a hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, either one, where hypothyroidism would mean you have an underactive thyroid, and when you have an underactive thyroid, you're not able to lose body fat, which would mean that like if you're not able to lose body fat, that means you have a downregulated metabolism. So your carbs and thyroid are directly related. If we eat more carbs, we have a faster thyroid, meaning you'll burn more calories at rest, meaning that impacts your metabolism. Your carbs also directly correlate with your cortisol levels. So if we pull carbs back, you're telling your body that we are under stress. Also, I always like to point out, like, carbs are fruits and veggies. So we know as humans, we're supposed to be eating fruits and veggies, right? Like we understand like an apple is like literally put on this earth for us to eat. And guess what? An apple is just carbs. A banana is just carbs. Fruits, veggies, potatoes, all that, just carbs. So yeah, we're absolutely supposed to have carbs. So to have the idea of going keto is absolutely bonkers and just completely goes against human nature in general. But anyway, if you lower carbs, you'll lower cortisol. Sorry, it has an inverse relationship. So if you lower carbs, you'll increase cortisol. Those have an inverse relationship, meaning that your body will be more stressed out. And again, if cortisol is high, cortisol is a hormone. All of your hormones play a role with each other. They're like dominoes. You cannot raise one hormone and not the other. You cannot lower one hormone and not the other. They all play a domino effect to make up for each other. So as cortisol gets high, all of your other hormones, like your thyroid, your insulin, your why am I drawing a blank? Like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, all of these things that play a role in your body's ability to lose fat will slow down and shut down. And yeah, so we love carbs, just like Morgan said. We love all three macros. We don't need to cut out an entire third of the three macros that make up the amazing foods that are put on this earth to help our body. The reason people think keto works, the reason keto does work, is because you're literally cutting out a third of the food that you should be eating. So yeah, that would absolutely do. You're overall just getting into a calorie deficit with keto, whether you're doing keto, carnivore, veganism, intermittent fasting, whatever it is, you're doing Optavia, you're doing Weight Watchers. The only thing that you're doing, if it's helping you lose weight, is you're getting into a calorie deficit. Okay. So yeah, insane that keto was so popular a few years ago. Totally makes sense. I know. Yeah. I wish Katie was on this call. She is like a keto warrior. She was keto for like 5-6 years, maybe even longer. And as soon as we got her eating carbs, she was able to lose like over 80 pounds and actually keep it off for the first time. When she was keto, she would lose weight and then would lose basically all other functions in her body. She'd be completely miserable, have terrible headaches, would be very irritable, and then would gain all the weight back because you're going to eat carbs again at some point in your life. So again, it's just not maintainable. The way you lose weight, you have to keep it up in order to maintain it. So, all right, y'all, this was lovely. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for interacting. And yeah, see you next week. Hey, bye.
Bye. Thank you.